I'm thankful for the career that I had. I'm thankful for the family that I have. I'm thankful for the retirement that I have. Thankful for being at the McKenna Center. So all in all, it's all worked out pretty well. And it's, you know, obviously there must have been God's hand in that somewhere along the way. My name's Don Kisicki at the McKenna Center. I work primarily in the kitchen, assisting the head chef, Russell Bird, and I also help on the serving lines, and then I do whatever else needs to be done. I'm a member of the Ignatian Volunteer Corps. It's an organization that was established by the Jesuits. Some of you may be familiar with the Jesuit Volunteer Corps, which is for recent college graduates to spend a year serving. The Ignatian Volunteer Corps is for senior citizens primarily, and you commit to doing 1 or 2 days of service a week at a place that would help the materially poor. And there's also a spiritual component to it. And so I've been a member for 13 years or so. My wife and I were for a long time involved in doing volunteer work while we were still working. But then as my retirement approached, I knew I wanted to do more. I'd credit my beginning my journey to 2 priests, one of which is Father Horace McKenna, because I actually attended Mass here at St. Aloysius once or twice while he was in his late years, and I'm sure I got to shake his hand after Mass, but I was inspired by what he was doing, and also Father John Adams, who with Father McKenna, I believe, formed Some So Others Might Eat, and said, you know, I could do that. I could do something, you know, and so started to do that, and then it just became part of my life, I think. Right now, my joy in life is being here at the McKenna Center. That's where I find my greatest, in the Jesuit tradition, they call it consolation. When you know you're doing the right thing, or at least you think you know you're doing the right thing, and you're doing what God would want you to do. And so my 2 days a week here give me a great joy. It gives me a chance to live the gospel, and that is to work directly with the materially poor. And the fact that my wife Patty and I got to serve at the McKenna Center for over 10 years was a great blessing. Although we had different jobs, I worked primarily back in the kitchen in the food serving. She worked primarily at the front desk. We did different things, but we were both here and we could share our experiences. After our day was over, often we would come home and we'd get a cup of coffee or tea and sit in our living room and just talk about the day, kind of a reflection of what went on. And she did pass on last year, but she used to keep track of something called McKenna Moments that she would write down in her journal. And one story goes like it was a snowy night, and I said, "Come on, Patty, it's time to get up, go to McKenna." "Well, we don't have to go. It's icy out and stuff." And I said, "Well, no, they need us." "Oh, but being a volunteer means I'm just a volunteer. I don't really need to go." But she went. And she got here, and one of the guys she was signing in, she asked him, "How are you today?" And he says, "Oh, I'm fine. The sun's come up twice for me today. Once outside when the sun came up, and once in your smile." So that kind of made her day worthwhile. She says, what a significant gift for such a little effort. She brought in a wood plaque on it and says something like, "In a world where you can be anything, be kind." I think I love through service. One thing I miss now that I don't have my wife anymore is being able to do that service at home. Try to be helpful to her, and I would normally get the coffee and breakfast every morning. You know, she could have that in bed. And I would normally prepare the dinner, and we usually have a beer and some popcorn before dinner, and I'd get that. So I just felt that that service, either the McKenna Center or at home, is just kind of what was part of my life. And that was how I tried to show love. But one of the joys of my life is getting to meet the young people and the older people that come in to volunteer, and you become friends with them as they volunteer for years on end. But getting to see the young people coming in and knowing that they're starting out their lives, and then to a little extent being able to follow them after they leave here, what they do. Shortly after I started here, there were 3 young men that came in, and they were just beginning their journey to become Paulist priest. And now all 3 of them are Paulist priest. And I know where all 3 of them are at. Here it's pretty easy because we're all doing the same thing. We all be on the same serving line, or we all know each other. And we kind of know what each other are doing a little bit, even though that we might not work hand in hand, but we all have the same goal. And so there's, the age difference collapses, and that we're all shooting for the same objective. I go back to Matthew's Gospel, chapter 25, and when did I see you hungry or naked or thirsty, and when did I clothe you and give you shelter and all that? And that, I've been told, is the test. Is the test for us when we come to our own day of reckoning, is when did we do that? And it's probably, and the whole gospel, the whole New Testament is full of the poor, Christ's preference for the poor. And that's the bottom line, is what do we do? What do we do for the poor? And so I would encourage everybody to think about that seriously and do something, start out somewhere. I think there's a reluctance sometimes to get involved. Well, I don't want to get committed to something. I don't want to get, but you could do it. You could start out small. You can find something where you don't have to be committed to doing something every week. So I know IVC is a big commitment every week, but you can find other things where you don't have that commitment. And so when you have the time, particularly when you get retired, life is more than playing tennis and golf. And it's a big part of it should be service, I think, to your community.